Hello everyone, welcome to Barca News. It is January 9th, 2024, and we now know the date that Joan Laporta will face the press and answer any questions about the whole Dani Olmo and Pau Victor debacle. Also, we now know how long the injunction or the emergency precautionary measure that was issued allowing Dani Olmo and Pau Victor to be registered. We have a lot to discuss, so let's begin. Hello everyone, welcome to the channel. My name is Mo and we'll begin this video with the news that we now know when will Joan Laporta address the media after this whole Dani Olmo and Pau Victor debacle, and it's going to be on Tuesday, January 14, 2025, when Joan Laporta will face the press for the first time since this whole fiasco started back since December, when we knew that the deadline was fast approaching, which was followed by Barcelona applying to two different courts for two failed precautionary measures. Then, if that followed by Joan Laporta flying to Dubai to close the sale of the rights to the VIP seats for 100 million euros. And when that wasn't enough, it was followed by filing the lawsuit at the CSD, and then followed by the injunction, which allowed Barcelona to register both Dani Olmo and Pau Victor. So finally, Joan Laporta will face the press to explain what happened, what went wrong, what was the whole thinking behind this. And of course, I'm going to be covering that press conference. I will be making a video after that press conference to give you all the news about what came out of it. So stay tuned to the channel because I'm curious. I'm very curious to see what Joan Laporta will say, how he will justify this huge failure. And I'm also going to want to see if he's going to address the VIP deals. He's going to discuss how many seats, how much money, why is it 100 million instead of 200. We'll wait and see, but make sure to stay tuned to the channel because I will definitely be making a video. Now, speaking of the injunction, of the emergency precautionary measure that the CSD, the Superior Court for Sports, issued that allowed Barcelona to register Dani Olmo Pau Victor, check out the Royal Spanish Football Federation's website because it is official. I should say La Liga's website, sorry, but it is official. Dani Olmo and Pau Victor have been registered thanks to that injunction, thanks to that precautionary measure. And well, they will be available for the Spanish Super Cup final. So definitely good news in that regards. Now, speaking of Dani Olmo and Pau Victor, while we're still on the topic, we now know how long that injunction will last. And it will be until April 7th, 2025, because that's how long, or that's the deadline that the CSD imposed to come up with a ruling on who is right. Is it Barcelona? Is it La Liga? Should Pau Victor and Dani Olmo been allowed to be registered? Yes, no. That's the deadline for the CSD to rule. Again, April 7, 2025. So by then, we'll see what will happen with the registration of both players. Now, April 7th, it's a little bit of a critical time for Barcelona. Of course, it is good news that they're going to get 3 more months of play time, but it's definitely a critical time during the season because we do have many important deadlines around that time. For example, in La Copa del Rey, the second leg of the semifinal will be played on April 2nd, with the final being played on April 26th. So if Barcelona do advance all the way to the final would be played after the precautionary measures would expire. So hopefully, if we make it to the final, Barcelona will be able to win their lawsuit. So Dani Olmo and Pau Victor will be available for the final. In the Champions League, we have the 2 quarterfinals in the Champions League being played in March 5th, the first leg being around March 5th, 4th and 5th, the second leg around March 11th and 12th, and the semifinals, the first semifinal will be played around April 8th, so 2 days after the precautionary measure would expire. And as far as the Spanish national team, they do have the 2 legs of the quarterfinals of the Nations League being played around March 20th and March 23rd, so if Spain advances to the semifinal of the Nations League, that means Dani Olmo could potentially miss that because remember, if you're not registered with a club, you cannot play for the national team. Now, of course, as far as the Nations League, I really don't care. Again, I've always said it's a made-up garbage trophy. But nonetheless, Barcelona could run the risk of not having Olmo available for the final of the Copa del Rey and for the semifinals of the Champions League. And of course, that's the final stage of La Liga, which again is a critical time during the season. Now, speaking of the injunction, I do want to clarify something because I've seen a lot of misinformation out there. I've seen a lot of overnight legal experts, talking about the injunction and what they think about it, and they have absolutely no idea what they're talking about. But here we go. That's social media for you. People acting like the experts that they're not and giving their opinions on things they have absolutely no idea about. So let me clarify some things because I've seen a lot of people out there talking about, the injunction is unfair. It's a miscarriage of justice because it's not fair to other clubs. So let me explain to you what an injunction is. An injunction is actually the total opposite. An injunction is an equitable relief. It means it's something that's given in order to prevent miscarriage of justice, not the other way around. And let me apply it to the case of Pau Victor and Dani Olmo. Now, Pau Victor and Dani Olmo's registration were supposed to expire by December 31st. And in order for Barcelona to register them, they needed to achieve the 1-1 rule. And in order to achieve the 1-1 rule, they needed to generate 60 million euros in revenues. So Joan Laporta flew to Dubai, sold the rights to the VIP seats for 100 million, more than what Barcelona needed to achieve the 1-1 rule. And then Barcelona turned over all the paperwork to La Liga before the deadline, saying, look, we sold these seats for 100 million. We need 60 million. That's more than enough. Give us the 1-1 rule. Register Olmo. Register Pau Victor. Again, all this was done before the deadline. But La Liga said, no, we're not going to accept that deal until we see the money in the bank account. Why? Because Barcelona had already presented in the past the Barca Vision deal, where they sold a portion of Barca Vision to the German investment fund Libero. And they said, look, La Liga, we sold a portion of Barca Vision for 200 million euros. La Liga said, great. Then we're going to allow you to register players. And then the 200 million euros never arrived. So La Liga was like, I don't want this to happen again. So I want to see the money in the bank account because the last thing I want to do is approve this deal, allow you to achieve the 1-1, allow you to register Olmo and Pau Victor, only for later the 100 million euros not to arrive. Now, what the prudent thing should have been is for La Liga to say, we are going to register Olmo and Pau Victor, and then by, January 15th, if the money doesn't arrive, then the two players will be deregistered. That would have been the prudent thing. But instead, La Liga simply said, we're not going to accept this. And then when Barcelona did achieve the 1-1 rule, 3 days later, La Liga said, well, now it's too late. So, they're not going to be registered. So Barcelona went to court because they believe that their rights were violated. They're being asked to show money when that's not the rule. All you're supposed to show is the contract and all the paperwork, which Barcelona did do on time. So, yes, La Liga is treating Barcelona differently. Everybody's like, oh, La Liga's treating Barcelona differently. They're giving them preferential treatment. No. Barcelona is being treated differently, but it's the opposite, right? They're being asked to do an extra step that other clubs are not asked to do, which is to show the money in the account. And the rule that prevents the registrations of Pau Victor and Dani Olmo is a vague rule at best that can be interpreted in different ways. So this is why Barcelona went to court. Now, this case will need to be litigated. And I'm not here to argue who's right, whether it's Barcelona or La Liga. That's in the hands of a judge, and a judge will have to decide. But until the judge decides, until this case is litigated, we have to figure out what to do with Pau Victor and Dani Olmo. And this is what the injunction is for. It's an equitable relief. It allows Pau Victor and Dani Olmo to play. Why? Because on April 7th, when the court issues a ruling, if the court says Barcelona is right and these players should have been registered, and this whole time Dani Olmo and Pau Victor were not playing, how are you going to make up that time for them? That's 3 months that both players wouldn't have been able to play. How are you going to make that up to them? You can't. Also, Dani Olmo has a clause in his contract that if he's not registered, he's allowed to walk away. So if he does walk away and Barcelona lose the 60 million that they paid for his transfer, how do you make that up for Barcelona? If the court on April 7th rules that Barcelona was right and these players should have been registered, how do you make up for that? You can't. That's why injunctions are issued, not just in football, but in any legal case. And this is coming from an actual attorney, a practicing attorney, a litigation attorney, someone who's in court every freaking week. So, legal experts of Twitter, please stop. Please stop. You have no idea what you're talking about. Stop acting like you're experts, because you're not. You're only embarrassing yourself. This is the same concept as the offside flag, right? Now, with the introduction of VAR, the referees do not raise the flag until the play is over. Why? Because if the referee was incorrect and the play was not offside, you cannot fix the damage, right? They let the play go. If the goal is scored, they review it. If it was not offside, great, it remains goal. If it is offside, no problem. You reverse the goal, no big deal. But if you raise the flag before the play is over and the play stops and the player does not score, and it turns out it wasn't offside, guess what? You cannot make that up. You cannot go back in time and allow the player to score. This is the same exact concept. So if you understand the offside concept, you should be able to understand the injunction concept. So please, I implore you, as a lawyer, stop acting like the legal experts that you're not. Anyways, that is all the news for this video. I will be uploading another video in a little bit, so stay tuned to the channel. Don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, drop a comment, and as always, Peace, Barca.